かっこいいから好きなんじゃない好きながらかっこいいんだよ I don't know why when I watch this series it just reminds me of this song. Wait, what? You thought I was gonna repeat the same joke last time with the copyright thing? Got you. Got you. Hey, my name is Ivan and I'm back talking about the detective is already dead. And to be honest, my interest in this series kinda went downhill after episode 9. I really didn't like that episode and I made an entire video talking about why I didn't like it, and the stuff they cut out from that episode. But then I realized as I kept watching that I was completely dumb, and we'll talk about that later. Now, my criticism of this episode was mainly on what emotional bits from the light novel that they cut out from the anime. But then, the anime hit me in the face as I realized that most of the cut out parts were just sprinkled throughout the next few episodes, which, even though I adore them for not leaving out those scenes, I still have to criticize them for doing this. So, you know the show uses time jumps like how my videos uses stupid editing. Timelines jump between episodes and sometimes we're in the past with Siesta, but then we're back to present day with Nagisa in the next. Now personally, I don't have a problem with this, as that is just how the story is told. But what I can forgive is cutting up the main event and sprinkling it in the next few episodes. What do I mean by that? So you know episode 9 was a dedicated episode to Siesta's death. And it just feels weird that you leave out the ending and put it in the next episodes. As I've said, Siesta's death is a pivotal moment in the story. It is literally the most important event. It kicks off the present day story. So it just feels weird that you leave out the important bits in the end and just put in the next episode. Now, I get what the show was trying to do. It wants Kimiko to slowly regain his memories of this event and lead up to Siesta's return in the final battle, and also when she revives later in the light novels. That was a spoiler. I really wouldn't mind the anime doing this if the light novel did this, but nope! The light novel did the smart thing of putting Siesta's death in a separate book from the original. They put it in light novel 2, while the cruise boat arc happens in light novel 1. So I literally can't justify the anime doing this. You already dedicated 5 episodes to it, so why not just one more? Put the entire fight with Hell in one episode and all my complaints would be gone. Whatever. Episode 10 is not bad. Now, I do want to say that they really did Nagisa dirty in the anime. I really hope that if the anime gets a season 2, it will fill out tidbits of her past. I will kill to see light novel 5 animated. With more budget this time, of course. This episode is honestly pretty good. My main criticism is that I think there were a lot of missed opportunities with Charlotte. I really think she should have been angrier at Kimihiko, to be honest. Like, honestly, how would you feel if you were in Charlotte's shoes? Your master frickin' died for some reason that her sidekick couldn't remember, and then the sidekick straight up abandons your master's wishes and goes to live a normal life. We, as the audience, of course knows that this isn't really the case. Kimiko was just lost after Siesta's death and didn't know what to do. But how was Charlotte supposed to know? In her eyes, Kimiko just didn't care about fulfilling Siesta's wish of defeating Spes. So I really think she should have been angrier. Maybe punch him in the face or something. Not just pulling a long face for a few seconds and then smile in the next. But other than that, I gotta say, episode 10 is not bad. We start the episode with Nagisa accepting her new role as the detective, and how she and Siesta are completely different from each other. Nagisa is the more emotional one, while Siesta is the emotionless one. God, I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, but I just really like the contrast between the characters. And then of course the cruise boat, Charlotte shows up, and their interaction, like I said, is a little underwhelming, but her interaction with Nagisa, though, is pretty good. And then it freaking switches to a comedic scene of Charlotte in the casino. Why the sudden shift in tone? I do like the scene after where Kimiko says why he can never become a detective. It's because he's too connected to Siesta. So much so that he can no longer become his own man, his own hero. In our eyes, Kimiko is the protagonist, we're following his story. But within the lore itself, Kimiko is always the sidekick, he is the underdog, he is the assistant of a legendary detective, and always will be. That's why he can never become his own detective. That is such a brilliant character aspect, and the reason why most of us are so intrigued in this story. And of course, Nagisa gets kidnapped. Great. Kimiko and Saikawa teams up to find her, and that scene is fantastic. The stare down with Chameleon was also fantastic. The tension is high, and the bit where Nagisa wants to sacrifice herself for the entire boat was great. Kimiko is a man that is so connected to his former partner that he can no longer become his own detective. But he is the man that will guide Nagisa into becoming her own detective, separated from Siesta. And I really like that. This episode is good as well. We begin with Nagisa getting saved, which we pretty much all knew was gonna happen anyway. The fight with Chameleon was super fun to watch. Kimiko is literally ready to die here, and that made this fight much cooler for me. But the animation really drags it down. I don't really have anything to say about the fight itself, it was great for what it is. This is where we start seeing Kimiko's growth. Hard to believe that this man whose plan is to die alone will eventually grow up to be able to surpass Siesta and defeat her with the help of his friends. That was also a spoiler. I like the tidbit of Charlotte being jealous of Kimiko because Siesta chose him instead of her. It's gonna be fun to see how this relationship evolves as we head into season 2 and the third light novel. And then Kimiko finally recovers his memory of that sacred day where Siesta died. Siesta takes control of Hell's body like we all knew she would. The scene was just amazing. Nothing I say will do justice to how good that scene is. And the way that Siesta and Hell interacts really makes her later team up with Hell against Seed in Light Novel 5 that much more impactful. Spoiler again. My only gripe about this episode is why didn't Siesta let him land the frickin' punch? Why? Just let the man land his punch! That was the only thing that I didn't like from the light novel, and you still don't change it here? And Siesta just somehow has her gun with her? Like, what? Flashback! And that's it. This episode was kinda empty? What the heck happened here? You were doing so well! The fight was really empty, but other than that, I think they got the emotional beats down. The fight for what we got is entertaining. Seeing the two characters that started this whole thing, once parted by death, but now once again reunited, that made me shed a tear. And the fight just abruptly ends like, what? The animation ran out of budget or something? I know the light novel also ends the fight abruptly, but the light novel at least describes how Chameleon gets shot and died. Why couldn't you just animate Chameleon getting shot? Why? That's at least better than just ending the fight abruptly. The ending is really unsatisfying, and I don't know. The anime is not that good, to be honest. Just read the light novel for the best experience. You deserve to experience the story in the best way possible. Honestly, I think the voice acting here is not bad, but it's the faces that don't really match with their emotions sometimes. The animation is really not that good. The characters don't blink for a majority of the show, and some frames are a little awkward to look at. But the story itself is so good that it overshadows some of the flaws. I found myself attached to the characters, laughing when they laughed, crying when they cried, mourning those who were lost, and cheering them on as they broke one obstacle at a time. So to think a couple of books made me even more engaged than I was with the anime, it's just remarkable. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed and tune in next time. I think I might talk about another show that I recently watched.